What is up, Shady Spotlight fam? Get ready, because the news cycle is spinning faster than ever, and we've got the must-see updates you cannot miss. We're kicking things off with a slam dunk of a story from the US Open, where politics, music, and Hollywood all converged. President Donald Trump made an appearance, but it wasn't just the POTUS drawing eyes. A star-studded crowd, including some vocal critics, were all in the stands. We're talking about a truly unforgettable mix of personalities at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Then, we're heading to the US Open again, but this time, we're focusing on the spectacle surrounding President Donald Trump's arrival. We've got the inside scoop on the Air Force One flyover, the security measures that caused delays, and the mixed reactions from the crowd. Plus, we'll delve into the interesting choice of attending a sponsor's suite just weeks after imposing tariffs. This is the kind of story that shows you just how intertwined sports, politics, and business can be. Next up, we're shifting gears to the exciting world of cinema and festivals. SXSW Sydney is kicking off with a bang, and they've just announced their headliners, and folks, it's a big one. Get ready for the Australian premiere of the highly anticipated Bruce Springsteen biopic, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, starring Jeremy Allen White. We've got all the details on this film that dives deep into the boss's life and his complex family dynamics, plus a look at other buzzworthy movie premieres. And finally, we're celebrating a monumental anniversary in rock and roll history. Bruce Springsteen is marking 50 years of his iconic album, Born to Run. We'll be taking you back to a special symposium where the boss himself, along with E Street Band members, scholars, and journalists, gathered to reflect on the creation and enduring legacy of this masterpiece. Get ready for an epic dive into the making of a classic. You know the drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from Shady Spotlight. The ultimate celebrity face-off, US Open Edition. Talk about a star-studded showdown, but not just on the court. President Donald Trump made a notable appearance at the US Open men's final, drawing a crowd that was as much about the spectators as it was about the players. This wasn't just any presidential outing. Trump was in his native Queens, hosted by tournament sponsor Rolex, and he brought along a contingent of political figures including Attorney General Pam Bondi and White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt. But the real buzz? The surprising presence of many of Trump's critics mingling in the same stadium. We're talking rock legend Bruce Springsteen, who has publicly called Trump a moron, filmmaker Spike Lee, and comedian Stephen Colbert. Even sports icons like Stephen Curry were there, recalling past White House snubs. The atmosphere was electric, with Trump receiving a mix of cheers and boos when shown on the Jumbotron, though broadcasters were reportedly asked to minimize any crowd reactions. This event highlighted the unique intersection of politics, sports, and entertainment, proving that even on the tennis court, the drama can be as intense off-court as it is on. But the political presence at the US Open was just the beginning of the story. Get ready for a look at the presidential arrival that caused quite a stir. Air Force One, booze, and business deals, Trump at the US Open. President Donald Trump's arrival at the US Open men's final wasn't just an entrance. It was an event in itself, complete with a dramatic Air Force One flyover that caused delays for fans. The president landed in his home borough of Queens, making his first appearance at Flushing Meadows in a decade, and his presence was met with a divided crowd, eliciting both cheers and boos. While some broadcasters were reportedly instructed by the USDA to censor any negative reactions, the mixed reception was palpable. Trump, seated in the Rolex suite, was there just weeks after his administration imposed tariffs on Swiss products, raising questions about the intersection of his political role and corporate sponsorships. His attendance strategy, often prioritizing major sporting events over traditional policy rallies, continues to blur the lines between presidential duties and personal business interests. The event also saw a galaxy of stars, including figures who have previously supported political opponents of Trump, adding another layer of intrigue to the day's proceedings. From the courtside drama, we're now heading to the glitz and glamour of the film festival circuit. Get ready for the Australian premiere of a highly anticipated biopic about a music legend. Springsteen Biopic and Indie Darlings lead SXSW Sydney lineup. Get ready, cinephiles. SXSW Sydney has just unveiled its star-studded headliners for the 2025 Screen Festival, and it's an announcement that's already generating massive buzz. Leading the charge is the highly anticipated Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, a biopic that will have its Australian premiere on opening night. Directed by Scott Cooper and starring Jeremy Allen White as the legendary Bruce Springsteen, this film promises an intimate look at the period when Springsteen crafted his deeply personal 1982 album, Nebraska, and explores his complex relationship with his father. But that's not all. The festival will also host the Australian premiere of the cult comedy Nirvana the Band, the Show, the Movie, alongside other must-see films like Black Phone 2, starring Ethan Hawke, Die My Love with Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson, and the gory black comedy Bugonia, featuring Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. Australian talent also shines with Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. This lineup guarantees a cinematic feast for attendees, offering a diverse range of genres and stories to captivate audiences. Speaking of Bruce Springsteen, his legendary career is being celebrated in a whole new way. Prepare for a deep dive into 50 years of an album that changed rock and roll forever. Born to Run's Golden Jubilee, Springsteen reflects on a rock masterpiece. 50 years ago, Bruce Springsteen set out to create the greatest rock and roll record ever recorded. And this past Saturday, he gathered with a remarkable assembly to celebrate its golden anniversary. At Monmouth University, a full-day symposium hosted by the Springsteen Archives and Center for American Music brought together scholars, journalists, photographers, and, crucially, members of the E Street Band, both past and present. Springsteen himself, alongside luminaries like Steve Van Zandt and Gary Taulant, delved into the historical significance and intricate creation of Born to Run, the album that catapulted the boss to superstardom. He shared candid reflections on his early struggles, the creative process behind iconic tracks like the title song and Wendy, and how the album's message of optimism resonated during a turbulent post-Vietnam and Watergate era. The symposium wasn't just about nostalgia. It featured insightful anecdotes, including Springsteen's playful self-deprecation about his memory and a detailed recounting of the album's challenging journey to radio airplay. The event culminated in a powerful performance featuring Springsteen and E Street Band members, bridging past and present to honor a true rock and roll classic. What an incredible journey through music and celebrity. But we're not done yet. Stick around for a lightning-fast recap of all these stories and your chance to join the Shady Spotlight community. And that's a wrap on today's explosive Shady Spotlight. We saw President Donald Trump at the U.S. Open, surrounded by critics and celebrities alike. We dove into the controversy and spectacle of Trump's U.S. Open arrival, complete with an Air Force One flyover. We got hyped for the SXSW Sydney Film Festival, headlined by a new Bruce Springsteen biopic starring Jeremy Allen White. And we celebrated 50 years of Bruce Springsteen's legendary Born to Run album with a special symposium and performance. Don't miss a single second of the action. Hit that like button, subscribe to Shady Spotlight for all your exclusive updates, and ring that notification bell so you're always in the know. Follow us on all socials for behind-the-scenes content. We'll see you in the next one.